up, or do you have to restart it?
No, it's good. It's good. We are ready to go. We are
Awesome.
live and we are broadcasting.
The need for speed.
Yeah. So yesterday's live stream didn't push out properly, except to your personal page and the YouTube channels. And neither one of us have a particularly large YouTube following yet, right? And so I was like, what the heck? You know, we tried all sorts of things. And finally this morning you were like, well, it sounds to me like you need to reset your permissions on the Facebook page. And I was like, all right. And then
I wish I would have thought of that yesterday when you asked me about it.
But then it wasn't clear on exactly how to do that. And I had to get on chat with Restream and they told me. And so I had to delete the channels and then I had to reinstall the channels. And then I went to push the broadcast from the recording, and we're using like OneStream, and I had never used that before. And I go to push it through OneStream, but what happened is I had done a test earlier, and it was like testing 1 2 3, and that was what was in the description. And when I went live with yesterday's broadcast, it still said testing 1 2 3. So it's been one of those kind of funny all over the place mornings. With getting
when you ended up restreaming it, did you do it through OneStream or did you do it through Restream?
I don't know. Maybe I did it through OneStream through Restream.
Well, yes. I mean, that's definitely the way it would have pushed. But like, I was just wondering if you triggered it inside of Restream or if you triggered it from my OneStream.
I believe I triggered it from OneStream. That was the intention. One way or the other, the Beetlejuice text didn't pull over, and so whatever. Totally not the end of the world. Maybe it'll get a lot more views because of the testing copy. Who knows? But pretty funny. Pretty funny.
It's interesting because you pushed two times the yesterday's video to my personal profile.
Right.
And then the testing went to my profile, but that was afterwards. So it was interesting. Anyway.
Comedy of live streaming errors, I think.
That's right. That's right. This is what we call iterating to success.
One thing I'm really happy about is that I legitimately don't feel any sense of embarrassment right now. Like, I'm glad because it's really nice to be able to screw things up and like,
it's real life, guys.
You know?
I mean,
it is.
It's like figuring it out.
So speaking of real life, there's something that I want to tell you about, something I've realized about myself.
Okay.
And so this morning I was doing workout with my kids and one of their friends comes to the morning workout, but my son was feeling sick. My daughter was feeling tired. They decided not to do the workout, but the friend was there. And so I'm out running with the friend, and this friend is 11, and we're out for a little run, and I'm trying to coach him to not stop and to push through the pain and to find another gear and to learn how to like tolerate more pain so he can grow in his running and strength and how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I ended up telling him the story about how I ran myself into the hospital in high school in order for our team to win a race, and how and times at which I've run myself to the point where I was spitting blood or puking all over the place, or in order to freaking win.
Gee, I want to be a part of that parade.
And so I remember I was thinking about both high school and college, for me in particular, where I was actively, regularly getting myself into the fray, going head to head with a whole bunch of other people. And it was just like, you had to be in shape, you had to be good at running, but at the end of the day, it was a mental game. It was like, can you or can't you outpush yourself from before? And doing that on a consistent and consistent basis for me, it makes me feel so alive. Fast forward a few years to internet marketing. And when I got started with internet marketing, I had several years in my business life of not succeeding, of failing, of feeling mediocre, of feeling dumb, of failed business after failed business after failed business. I was alone and it sucked. And then I got into the internet marketing world. I studied email marketing. I studied affiliate marketing. I learned from you. I learned from NPod. I learned from Mark Joyner and Nitro Marketing and Kevin and Matt and all these awesome, Sean Casey, all these guys. And they were all doing launches. They were all doing launches, and I wasn't very good at writing webinar scripts, sales videos, or I wasn't really good at selling my own stuff yet. And what happened was I started entering these launches, and I started as like one of the lower people, as everyone does. Like when you start, you're not in shape yet. You're not good at this stuff yet, and you're low. And I entered, and then what happened was I wanted to start beating people. And I would look at the leaderboards and I would send out an extra email, or I'd put in the extra juice, or I'd wake up at 3 a.m. because I had a cool idea about how I could get a little edge and push something out. And my brain would just go after it nonstop. And my creativity was boundless, and my energy and focus on what I'm doing in a launch or competitive environment is amplified, not just twice, but it's like 10 times more engaged for me. And so I made a crap load of money over the course of a decade. Most often, not only were we selling our own things, but I was consistently winning launches or scoring in the top 3, top 5 in launches. And eventually my list got huge. It was still responsive. I was still doing crazy marketing and doing it my own way, but I was able to like win, or at least be, up there. And then I focused my company on only selling our own stuff, and then looking back on it, slowly my enthusiasm waned. My enthusiasm went down because it became day to day. It became same old, same old. Even though we were trying to improve by 10%, 15%, we were trying to steadily increase our numbers. Like, it's like a yawn for me. And so here's what happened, is that my good friend, longtime colleague, previous co-mastermind member, Matt Basak, launched and a member of this group. Matt Basak launched a super cool book with a super cool offer. It's called The Secret Email System, and it's his take on how to do email marketing, right? And awesome funnel, awesome upsell sequence. He offered 100% commission on the whole thing. Like, the whole thing was an amazing marketing stunt. So hats off to you, Matt Basak. But the reason that I want to talk about this is because I sent out a couple of emails at the beginning, and it made a bunch of money. And then I wasn't paying attention to the launch. I didn't look at anything. I was off doing other things, working on our own stuff. And then I read an email, or I saw one of his videos, and I was on the leaderboard. And I was like, what? I wasn't even trying to be on the leaderboard. I was just trying to see whether or not my hypnosis list would buy email marketing stuff, because I'm always trying to sell my hypnosis list email marketing stuff, but they're often very resistant to the my personal development market is often resistant to learning good marketing strategies. And so, but I wanted to help Matt out, and I wanted to see what would happen because it seemed like an interesting promotion. And I was on the leaderboard, and when I noticed that I was on the leaderboard, I looked at who was above me and who was below me, and I was like, I want to catch that guy. And I want to catch that guy. And then I noticed myself logging into the private Facebook group where all the affiliates were and paying attention.
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I am such a competition whore or something. Like, I really love racing. I love it. It completely fires me up. And so I'm trying to figure out how to play with that in a constructive, not a destructive way. It was a really
leave me out of it.
Well, I know. Well, this is obviously we have many similarities, but some significant differences. So I just wanted to tell you and everybody else about that. First of all, because Matt Basak is awesome and partnered with him many times in the past, but it's been years because I've been in the personal development market for almost a decade, right? And so getting back into the marketing educational land, I'm so happy that I rediscovered competing in launches because I'm jacked.
Right, right. I'm just looking for something because I believe that in your Clifton Strength Finders, competition is in your top 5. Yeah.
I believe so. I don't remember. I believe so. Yeah.
Where the hell is?
And it's interesting. Like, I don't know. And anybody watching right now, I would love to hear your opinions on this. Like, I always sucked at sports, but I did run cross country, and it became a total obsession for me, for all sorts of crazy reasons. But what I found was that I often didn't show up to the ceremonies to receive my awards. And when I did, I don't have any of the awards from any of the hundreds of races that I've won or whatever. And so it's like, I never really wanted like the personal spotlight or glory in that way, but I definitely wanted to beat everybody else. So it's a very interesting dynamic in my head.
I just looked up my my numbers. It's number 13 of 33 for me.
Yeah.
In my and interestingly enough, my number 1. See, what I find interesting is that competition is under the influencing theme.
Oh, huh. Okay.
And but my number 1 strength is activator, and that's also under the influencing theme. So it's interesting how that that shows up differently and how it all kind of plays in. It's fascinating.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
I concur. So anyway, I didn't get a chance to look at the comments from the broadcast earlier today where we talked about list resurrection. Mm-hmm. And I think that maybe that would be a good topic of today's conversation. So here's I've been talking to a lot of internet entrepreneurs. Here's what I've been doing. So guys, Joshua has been online since 1996, 97.
Yeah, it's probably 97 when I think about it.
Online building campaigns, paycheck coming from the internet, one way or the other, for a very long time, and dealing with large amounts of data in terms of subscribers of various sorts and coming from various places over the years. I've only been online for the last 17 years.
Only, huh?
I'm an infant. And, in that time, for me, 99% of the dollars that I've earned, of the millions and millions and millions of dollars that I've earned in that 17 years, 99% all came from one source. At the end of the day, it all came from email marketing. Building my email list and building a bond with people through my email list, connecting with them through my email list and through email marketing, and then selling my products and services and selling the products and services of our strategic or affiliate partners along the way. My sister's here!
Sarah, what's up, girl?
My sister actually was head of...
I don't know who you're calling gentleman, by the way.
That's right.
Have you met us? I know you met your brother.
That's right. She's pretending. She's just being polite.
Yeah.
But so much of it came from email marketing. My sister was employed by my company as head of customer support for many years, and Sarah, who just jumped on, and I'm feeling generous today. She says, "That's very nice of you, Sarah." So, I'm glad someone's feeling generous.
Love it.
So what ends up happening is, over time, you build a big email list. And for example, the majority of people inside of the Art of Email Marketing, which is probably where you're watching this right now. By the way, if you're not watching this inside the Art of Email Marketing, we go live inside the Art of Email Marketing. It's a Facebook group every single day. You can Google it or you can Google it. You can search for it in Facebook, and it's a group, and or you can say email art in the comments, and we'll just give you a direct link to that a little bit later on. So point is that email marketing is an incredibly powerful way to consistently communicate with your people, to build an audience, to build a platform. Joshua, I mean, you've had millions and millions and millions of people on and off various lists that you owned or controlled over the years.
Yep.
And
I've
what
always
happened,
used or thought of email as the end game, right? Like no matter what new technologies or new things, like I remember when it was new, text messaging was new, and
Right.
and SMS marketing was new,
Right.
and it was like I thought that was great, and I think apps are great, and I think all of it, but I've always looked at it, Facebook marketing, Facebook chat bots, and all of that, as a means to feed into my email list. The faster that I can get somebody through there that they're comfortable, and getting them to subscribe to an email list and anticipate communication via email, the better, because that's what you, at least in my experience, have control over.
That's right.
You know?
So people are out there and they're building lists. Some people are buying solo ads to grow their list. I was texting last night with one of our regular viewers and previous purchasers of NPod, and we were going back and forth about what he was challenged by, and he was interested in list resurrection. He was interested in taking his email list that doesn't seem very responsive and bringing it back to life. And he'd been studying this stuff for over a decade, for about 12 years. He'd been a student and fan and follower of my work and your work. And we texted back and forth, and he sent me some audio clips I asked him some questions about what he had going on. And at the end of the day, he had no bond with his list. He had no deep, meaningful, emotional connection. With his list. He was very smart, very well educated, had succeeded in many other areas of his life, but he hadn't yet learned how to translate that personal, emotional connection into email, either with one-off emails or with sequences and email experiences.
Did you ever take business classes in college, like, where they teach you how to do write a cover letter and a professional?
Absolutely
it's so
not.
funny because all the things that they teach you in business school,
right,
and in college and graduate school, are to be like more professional and to neuter out your personality, to neuter out that personal connection. And that's exactly the recipe for making for an unresponsive list.
Right. So but that's only one story. Another story is I was just on the phone over the weekend with a exceptionally well-known and long-standing marketing guru and entrepreneurial guru and teacher. And super successful, has done amazing things, incredible connections. And we were talking about what he's working on and what he's focused on. And he mentioned that he had an old 100,000 person list in Aweber that goes back a very long time that he hadn't mailed really in a few years.
Right.
And was looking to re-engage as many of his old appropriate people as possible to turn them from many years ago onto what he's doing now.
Yeah.
And this is not an uncommon story.
Right.
What I found is that as an email marketer, as a list owner, as a list builder, as someone that's been in the game and doing this, and I'm not going to name names, everybody knows who's been in the game for 10 or more years. Many of us go in and out of different niches and verticals, whether it's to find ourselves or to chase the money, right? Depending on what you're after and what you're looking for, whether you're just looking for a financial opportunity or to find your true passion, what you're really here to do.
Yep.
I've gone after at least half a dozen blatantly different niches over the years, right?
Yep.
But
and I think, another common thing, particularly with marketers like you and I, where we have the best of intentions, but it can become distracting and we can get excited and activated, or in your case, like your strengths, and we both have futuristic as our top strengths. But the activator in me, the quick start in me, sometimes jumps onto one thing to the next, and then before you know it, it becomes easier, at least mentally for me, to say, well, it would be better just to start from scratch and get fresh blood in there, and just build it up from there. And of course, that's the easy way out, and frankly, sometimes that's the only choice if you've let it go too long. But the reality is that if you've got that asset, you can resurrect it, you can re-engage them, and there are some really cool things that can bring it back to life and resuscitate it and give it to a new direction, and that becomes a whole lot easier than just going after new subscribers, because that's complete strangers that haven't gotten any kind of connection to you.
Right.
And now you got to start there, as opposed to people that once had a fond connection or some sort of a connection, and you occupy some of their mind share and maybe some of their heart share as well. And now all of a sudden, you can it's a lot easier to set that on fire again and get that burning, to use a metaphor that Dan Kushel loves a lot, and I love it too, because it's just so apropos. He talks about like taking a match and throwing it at a log, and throwing lots of matches at the log, and maybe the log, one time when you throw a match, it's going to ignite the log. And he said,
Maybe.
yeah. Well, I mean, like we've all had that experience where like 1 out of a million,
right?
And boom, and it catches fire, and we don't know really what happened, right? But he said, like, for me, I like to build a lot of kindling and a lot of things, and I'll light just a little kindling on fire and put the log on top of it once it gets going. So the way that I'm kind of viewing this new concept of list resurrection is that, it's like, why try to throw matches at full logs trying to catch it on fire when you've already got like kindling ready to go that's combustible, that all you got to do is just get a little bit of it going, and then more of it will go and go and go and go.
That's right. So if you have an email list and it is not as responsive as it once was, or it could be, then we have something very special for you. It's our secret sauce. It's our magic formula. It's our super special process to help bring your list back to life. So there are different ways that we can work with you. Guy I was chatting back and forth with last night has 1,000 people on his list. That's a little bit on the small side for who we normally work with. It's possible.
Could be big though,
depending on what you're aiming at.
Yeah.
And what market you're in, and all that kind of stuff.
Well, and how responsive they are, right? I mean, like if you can bring back 1,000 people list, it's amazing what you can do with that when they're re-engaged the right way, and what could happen just out of those small numbers. It doesn't have to be 100,000 or 1 million person list, unless, of course, you're to the mass markets and you're not specializing, you're not going deep, and you're not building any kind of real relationship.
Right. Which, honestly, if that's the case, you're probably not paying attention to what we're saying right now anyway. Right. Yeah. It's a different game. If you're just like spamming the crap out of people, you're probably not watching this live stream. It's super powerful. So if you have an old list that you haven't mailed in a long time, or if you have a big list that you're mailing too often, but you're not really injecting much personality or any storytelling or any emotion into your emails, then there's a lot we can do for you.
Yeah, and let me add a third category, which is if you're just seeing like a steady decline in open rates, in click-throughs, in responsiveness, but and it seems like it's just, that's the trend, and like there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
That could be a gold mine if we approach it the right way as well.
Absolutely. So there are 9 different techniques that we use in order to help increase, improve, enhance the responsiveness of someone's list. And
clear. Boop. We got them back.
That's right. So And different techniques work to different and varying degrees for different lists, depending on list age, depending on what platform you mail through, depending on there might be certain techniques that you are uncomfortable trying for some reason, though I highly doubt it. They're pretty, but there are one or two that.
Well, it's just different. It's not like it's going to like get you in legal hot water or anything like that. But it's just goes against sometimes what people are used to and common sense and. Like a typical thing that we always hear, if you're ever been like a copywriter, for example, the first thing that you're going to hear out of a new client is my clients are different. They're never going to read all that long copy. Just ain't going to happen. Right. And of course, you can almost start giggling when you hear it because that you just got to bring them along because everybody says that their clients are different and that type of marketing won't work. And I remember listening back in the day to Halbert saying the same thing. But anyway, all I'm saying is that there's that. And then as soon as you see some of those things, and I think what's really kind of cool and powerful is that, depending on where the list is at and depending on the individual situation and circumstances and what their business model is, that, deploying 1 or 2 or 7 of these different elements, it's not like a linear type improvements. It's geometric. It's exponential. Right. And it's definitely the situation where 1 + 1 = 7 million. Right. Not 2.
That's right. Yeah, it's either a multiplier or a cubed effect. I mean, they really exponentially increase one another in lots of powerful ways. Some of them engage people's creativity. Some of them are exclusively technology driven. Some of them are actually specific to certain email platforms that you might want to consider using instead of in addition to what you currently use. Right. Some of them are entirely psychology based. Some of them are based more in personalized real-time interactions. Some are more based in building specific types of sequences that people get at different stages in the journey through your email list. So depending on where you're at, how old your email list is, where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, there are different ways we can work with you. I think we should probably call it here for the day, Joshua, because we have that other video we have to record for the members area.
Yep.
So guys, if you want to resurrect your list, then I need you to do 2 things. The first thing you need to do is type resurrection into the comments. And then I'd like you to shoot either Joshua or I a private message, whoever's platform you're looking at. Shoot us a private message. Add us as friends on Facebook. And we'll keep an eye out for that so that we can ask you some questions and figure out whether or not we're going to be able to help you resurrect your list.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Enjoy the day. Thanks for showing up, Sarah. Good seeing you.
See you guys.
Bye.